Hey guys, Jen Graves here, doing a video for all of you. This is kind of a new series that I'm going to try and be doing, which there's not very many, just going to tell you that. It's going to be a pretty short one, but this is stuff that you guys don't get to see on my shelves. It's stuff that I took off that hopefully at some point I can kind of transition out. Some of the other series that I have, I kind of put them away into quote-unquote storage, even though they're like right here, and you know, do all that. Anyway, I was like, I should probably go through these boxes. I know I've shown some of the stuff off before, but I wanted to go in and do each individual box at this point, and then show off the series that were in there, and let everybody know, see what other older stuff is in there. It's usually what it is, older Tokyo Pop volumes, or ones that might look a little more grittier, I guess. Stuff that's not currently going on or anything like that too. So I just kind of wanted to do that and make it like a little mini series on my channel and put it out for all you guys to watch and enjoy. So anyway, let's get into this one. Already said good stuff at the top. If I think you guys have probably seen it before, but it's the BCW boxes, like for comics. I just take them and then I put manga through it and stack them in the sides and then lay them across the top, and I mean I can get quite a few in there, so it's pretty good. So the first one laying here on the top was a great series. I loved it. This one is Satsuma Gishiden, The Legend of the Satsuma Samurai. The art in this is great. I love it. So this is like older stuff that I have. There's 3 of them in here, from Dark Horse originally. Show these off. It kind of takes this little stuff from the village of Satsuma, which is by a river, and kind of takes it and talks about the people there, the samurai, the way of life, all that other stuff, and showing it in a different light for kind of all the craziness, what it was. It goes back to like feudal Japan, and if you were feuding with another person, you guys would basically sit there together and would announce a fight or a duel and kind of go from there. If somebody, which it seemed like not a lot had to happen for you to be pronounced crazy, and there were manhunts and a bunch of other stuff. Satsuma is supposed to be one of them, though, that none of that was tolerated. I would compare this to maybe the Japanese Spartans, if you guys have seen 300 or anything like that. Like the training was kind of vigorous, and the moral or Bushido kind of way was held like 10 times higher than what some other ones were. Somebody like, you know, talked bad about you or whatever, and dishonored you, you kind of let it go. You know, some let it go, not everybody. And this one, like, if it was even like uttered or anything like that, it didn't matter. It was, if you were of a lower class than the samurai family, it was like you can basically get put in front of the samurai for them to cut off your hand, or different stuff like that. I mean, there was just a lot of stuff, and it wasn't like if it was a little offense, it was like everything could get you killed in Satsuma. So really good series, highly enjoyed it. We're also doing this on the floor, guys, so I don't know if you guys knew that or not. So that's why everything looks so small now, and there's the chair and stuff. So this next one is a great series, loved it. It was one of mine that I highly enjoyed, and it actually took me later on in life to actually finish it. because when I first got part of the series, I think I was probably like 16 or 17, and I only got a few of them. And then one of my friends had given it to me, and from there I ended up going in and getting the other, like the last 3 that I needed for it. But this one is Deers. It's a very good series. I highly recommend that you read it if you haven't already. You know, it's about aliens come down, and kind of almost seems like any of the ones where there's somebody that's lost. They do it in Monster Girl ones. I mean, they do it in Slice of Life, a lot of stuff. Basically where like a girl that's kind of from the other side of the tracks, that's not familiar with anything, goes and becomes this person, lives with a guy because they don't know what to do and any of that stuff, and they have to figure it out. And then there's something like mysterious or magical about them with the past. But this one is 8 volumes. The other one was 3 on the Setsuma one. But yeah, this is a really good series. I highly recommend it. I think it does have a couple comedy parts in it. But I mean, it's really good. I feel like it's pretty close to like Chobits and some of like Monster Musume, some of the other stuff where it is that, hey, this person's coming to live with you, where do you go from there? Different stuff like that. So let's see, I'm trying to dig some of these out of the side, see what we have in here. I'm pretty sure in all these I have it where it's the whole series of whatever it is in the box. So this one is actually from one of my favorite publishers, Udon. I think this was one of the first ones before they kind of flipped it and changed what they were doing. But this one is Sengoku Bizarre. It's one that's off of the video game series, which was great too. But yeah, I love the art for this, especially on the cover. The inside's a little different, but still just as good. So, and then book 2. But I mean, you know, this one, the video game series I played, that's how I found out about it, and then I ended up seeing these, and I was like, I should get the series. I've never read it. What do I do from there? Let's do this. So this one's a little newer. This is As a Manga Dio, the complete edition. Let me show you guys. I like this where they show kind of all the people together. I really love how it's a full round spine. But this one has all of them in it. This one, I enjoyed it, but this one, it was one that it was harder for me to get into, especially just because they have it kind of set up here and there with the 4-panel selection. I felt like it kind of jumped around a little bit on that, but still a good, highly recommended series right there that I would say read. What else do we have in here? We have Satoshi Kon's Opus. This is a really good one. I highly recommend it as well too. It's about like a manga artist, and I mean, Satoshi writes or has done a lot of stuff that I guess would be series that make you think or something like that. But this one, the manga artist goes into his own work, and he has to figure out what to do, because while he's in there, different things can happen. And so there's a couple little things where it's almost like the never-ending story, I guess, where he goes into the world and then he like comes out for a little bit, and then he gets sucked back into it, and he has to figure out what he's going to do. But it's really cool how they depict it all, and I like the idea of this where the guy goes in and he has trouble finishing it. He can't figure out how to end his series, and he goes in and basically lives the tale, and he finds out this is how I'm going to end it, and you know, kind of lives through it. So it's kind of one of those, I wouldn't say exactly like an isekai, but it has elements like that. But this is another good one. I feel like everything in here is almost like Dark Horse, but it is a super good series. Then we have this one. One is also an Omni. This is Dot Hack Legend of the Twilight, 3-in-1, super big. So I'm sure we all know this one. This is one I was glad I read the series over the anime, because the anime I enjoyed, but it was a little weird, and I feel like it wasn't as understandable as the manga was. So, but really good. You know, I feel like that's one of them that probably started out like Sword Art Online and stuff, was that one. Let's see what else is in here. There's a new one in here. I forgot about that. Okay, this one in here is Lone Wolf and Cub 21 or 2100, however you want to do it. You know, and this one's actually based off of Lone Wolf and Cub, but they put a futuristic aspect to it. So it's kind of like Nihei that did like Blam and Apoziums and Knights of Sidonia stuff. It's more of a futuristic world, kind of like his is, but it's all based off of it being Lone Wolf and Cub. So I thought this was really cool, especially I read this before going into Lone Wolf and Cub, and I mean, it was spectacular. Lone Wolf and Cub, I think, does a lot better job, especially with doing it, but this is probably one of the best adaptations from a series, giving it a spin and making it something new. You know, because that one took place where it was basically Lone Wolf Cub is like feudal Japan, stuff like that too. And then in this series, they took that whole idea and they spun it where it was in the future. So I mean, it's a super good adaptation in reference to that. Let's see, what else do I have in here? So we have this one. It's a 2 series. I actually remember reading this one. It's not in there as like data, I guess, in my brain. You know, most of these I remember what it is, because what that was or what was going on in life, but it's not exactly like I remember when that was in life. So this one was actually like last year. So but this is Magical Girl Rising Project. Really good one. Just 2 volumes. Yeah, just 2 volumes. And basically it was coming out with like Magical Girl Apocalypse, and it's about magical girls where they get into it and you get your powers and everything. And somebody puts out a like tournament thing where you have to go as a magical girl and go try and kill off another magical girl. So really crazy. But yeah, there's just the 2. There's a blue one and a red one. And I mean, it is a pretty crazy series. I totally thought there was going to be more, but when I was reading this, you know, as you went, it kind of seemed like, oh, well, there's not going to be more to it. And you know, getting to the end of the last one, you're like, there's too many people that have died. And right at the end, you're like, oh, well, this is why, you know, because the whole first one, I think, over half the characters died. So I was like, good God, what are they going to do with this series? So here's another one. This was a good one. I actually saw the anime for this one over the manga. I kind of got to skim through the manga though and know all of the stuff about it. But this one is Juose. Really good. I'll show you guys the spines. I love how they did the color part for these. But Juose, this guy gets sent. It's kind of like Trigun. It got put in and sent that these characters were going to go to a different planet, and I believe the main character had a twin. He ended up dying like real fast, and when they got to this planet, and it kind of leaves it up to, oh my gosh, you know, that was the better of the twins. What are they going to do now? There's not much that the quote unquote dumb twin can do, and he actually figures out his way how to get through it. He's got, I think, like a futuristic knife where it's like a laser knife, and the world has been like, there's giant monsters, everybody's fighting, and you're trying to figure out who's going to be this king person that is going to unite all three of like the tribes that are there and get a piece of the key to get sent back up into space and become this king character that is going to become basically like the ultimate weapon. So, but yeah, it's really good. It starts out kind of as a futuristic one and then turns more into like a adventure jungle one. So that's some of the other stuff that I really like about this series. Let's see, what else do we have in here? So we have Negima Neo. This is another series when I first got it, because I had a friend that just gave me like a bunch of theirs. I had maybe like 200 at the time, and they gave me like 100. So this one is a really good one. It's a spin-off from the other one, or not exactly a spin-off. They took the original one and then they kind of like did their own style to it. So it's pretty close to the same thing, but it's not as long. This is a really cute series though. I like how Negima is this little kid school teacher, and then all these girls start trying to like fall in love with him, and it's just kind of like, you know, what's all this stuff? And then he like kisses them to make like a contract, and then they get like this holy knight armor or something like that, and that was just like, this is really cool. I like this, you know. There's another series I have to read for it. I kind of read like the first chapter just to kind of see if I would like it, called Magica, Sumner and Swordsman, and that one seems kind of like Negima, not exactly there 100%, but pretty close. But that was all 7 volumes of it as well. Let's see. We have this one, great story, that starts out kind of like in our world, quote unquote, goes into more of a fantasy world, but this is Brave Story. Again, I like the layout, the art style for these ones. But the main character goes into a fantasy world and finds out that he is actually supposed to be the savior of that world. Kind of seems like a fantasy Wizard of Oz kind of thing, especially with this one with a lizard man on it. But it was actually cut short at 5 volumes, and so there wasn't more that was printed of it, but what we got of it was fantastic. You know, just totally good. I would recommend that anybody pick it up if you do like fantasy series. If you don't like ones that are incomplete, obviously don't get it, but a lot of stuff happened that way, especially from, I mean, we're seeing ones from Dark Horse in here that kind of went the length that they were supposed to.